live. Allison Jernigan. So great for you to take the time to connect with us here on the ROI and You Career Success Tips live show. We used to say podcast. I had a podcast for a long time, but now we do everything live, which is really fun. And I'm so happy that you're able to take the time to share your insights with emerging professionals. And I think that today, based on what we've talked about so far, there's going to be a lot to talk about that applies to anyone, not just emerging professionals, because everything has changed so much in, the world of business, and you have a great track record behind you as an executive, and would just love to hear one thing that pops into your mind that you might not read about in a book, or that the traditional way of networking and growing your career has totally been thrown out the window because.
Yeah. Thank you. First, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So excited to participate and to be on your show. The first thing that stands out is that it's going to take a little bit of effort now since everyone's working virtually. There's this whole hybrid return to the office. You might not get the face time that you used to have with your peers or executives. So it's going to take a little bit of effort to put your voice out there and make sure that that you're heard and that you're contributing and they remember you.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And one of the things that you mentioned was not hiding out on Zoom, right? To make sure that if you're in a Zoom meeting that you are speaking up, that you're not sliding off into the nether regions of some screen somewhere that no one ever hears from you, because that's really important to have a presence.
It is, and I think it was already a challenge being in the office for rising talent, those who are starting out in their careers and trying to find their way and make sure that they're considered and known. But now it's even more of a challenge now that we're on this sort of Brady Bunch layout of Zoom calls, and you might not always get that FaceTime like you would sitting in a conference room or walking into someone's office.
Yeah, right. The Hollywood Squares effect. So tell me a little bit about what you've been doing, in the entertainment industry, and we'd love to hear a little bit more about your background and your trajectory.
Yeah, absolutely. So after spending about 21 years in corporate America with a leading entertainment brand on the cinema side of the business, I shifted over still in entertainment, but to the streaming side. So streaming has grown significantly. It's the way that viewers are consuming TV series and business content and movies, all sorts of entertainment. So I'm leading content strategy for a streaming app. So this is one of the smart TV apps. It's free, unlike Netflix, and it's a great complement that we have something for everyone. So I have the fun job, which it's hard to believe you can call it that, of working with content creators all over the world and digitally delivering their content, their shows to viewers through streaming. So it's really fun to find those shows and series and independent films that viewers might not get to see otherwise.
That is fantastic. What a amazing job. That sounds awesome. You get to see
Yeah, it's
like all the awesome
fun.
things that people are doing out there.
Yeah. So we take, content strategy. There is there's a lot of thought that goes into it, and it truly is a strategy because it's tracking what our viewers are looking for, what they're searching for, what are they watching, following the other streaming apps and entertainment platforms, and what is trending there. Monitoring that top 10 on Netflix, true crime and series, but then we want to make sure. So this is a smart TV audience, so it could be a household of five like us,
Hmm.
or it could be a single person. So we want to make sure that there's something there on our network for everyone in the home. It's a lean back audience, so they're not on the go on their phone or tablet. They're sitting in their living room, and hopefully, we're delivering content that they want to watch, and they'll keep coming back.
That is really interesting to hear, right? That lean back audience. And I'm not sure that many people are familiar with that, that's how you would refer to like a movie experience, right? Not a portable experience. You're like actually sitting there and experiencing it. potentially with a device in your hand, but that
Right,
the
right.
device is not your primary focus.
Exactly. And surprisingly, about 80% of homes in the US have at least one smart TV. And so
Hmm.
we're reaching such a wide audience, and but such a wide range in demographic ages. They're looking for genre, all sorts of genres of content. And we find that on smart TV, they're ready to sit and consume back to back 30-minute episodes of a full season, or maybe one independent film at a time. But it's not the short form content that you find on Instagram or social media, where they're on the go with their phone. Now you're right, they might be looking at it as they're watching, but yeah, they're sitting back and they're ready to watch a season of a brand new series that's out. So it's fun to find those hidden gems of content that are looking for distribution and wanting to get in front of those viewers.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. So tell me a little bit about, when we are talking about navigating careers and as we are chatting, the whole idea of a cliffhanger, right? I feel like COVID is just like, what's going to happen next? You just don't know. And one of the great things that you were bringing up was just this whole concept of how to move your career forward when we're still remote, right? Because to a certain extent, it's just not going to go back exactly to the way that it was as much as many people would like to. So I'm just curious what tips you might have that are in the context of being remote, but you still, this is going to be a stretch, right? That we're going to be in this remote realm.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that career growth does not always look like a step up. It might be a lateral move, it might be volunteering and raising your hand for that extra project that sounds interesting, but is not within, say, your area of expertise, and that's okay. I mean, I firmly believe you can figure just about anything out with the help of YouTube and Google. So, raising your hand and volunteering, that just shows initiative. At the same time, you don't want to say yes to everything. It's all in balance, but it definitely takes a little bit of effort to make yourself. You have to have a little bit of confidence and just put yourself out there in today's environment, because who knows, I don't think it's ever going back to the full office environment that we had before. So finding that balance in this new norm.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. And do you have any tips for how to, we talked about standing out in a meeting, we talked about getting some projects to stretch your wings, but what might be some other ways when, you're not able to maybe connect in such a close interpersonal way with a decision maker or, a boss or supervisor? Any hidden gems right there? You have so many so far.
Thank you. Yeah, LinkedIn. I firmly believe in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great resource. Find someone that you can connect with. Find a mentor. Find someone you can connect with once a month. Maybe set a recurring call, just to have a sounding board, or just a guide. Someone, and not necessarily at your company or in your industry. Someone you're comfortable talking with.
Hmm.
So many leaders today are willing to kind of put a hand down and lift up rising talent, and invest in them. So I think a 30-minute call once a month is uh, is is definitely there. And I would say too, just growing your network on LinkedIn. There's such value in that, because I've seen too that it's so easy to just have your virtual new office environment, and then that's the extent of especially for those who have started with companies since the pandemic hit, and they've never walked foot into the office, never stepped
Hmm.
foot into the office. um, so really it's all about networking. I can't say that enough. I know that's kind of my main message, but just even if it's growing your network by one or two, it's so valuable, because they're a great sounding board for if you need help touching up your resume for that next job opportunity, or you want a referral or need a recommendation. It's always good to grow that network.
Yeah, definitely. And I think traditionally, a few years ago, we would say networking is going to a networking event, but there are other ways to do that. And you mentioned LinkedIn. So, LinkedIn groups, alumni networks, those can be really great tools. A lot of times, a professor, they keep in touch with former students keep in touch with them. That can be a great matchmaking tool, also.
Yeah, absolutely. I see that a lot where especially they're willing to recommend or to help out someone who's within their alumni network. You know, they're contributing. I'm a part of, so I went to UT Dallas and I'm a part of the alumni group there. And there's so many opportunities to connect with. And if I have an opportunity to post on their career board, so there's a lot of value in that network as well. And it takes very little effort.
Yeah, yeah. Comparatively, you don't have to even put on shoes right now.
Right? You don't
You
have
can
to
just
drive to the networking event and, spend an hour and try to figure out who to connect with. Like it, in some ways it's easier. It's easier. It still takes some effort to kind of find what works for you. So if that's a phone call or a Zoom call or simply an email exchange, I think could work. It's a little less personal, but finding what works for you, and who's a valuable connection to have.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think LinkedIn is, I mean, for me, it's the best way because I can see who you are, right? I can see what we may have in common. Someone can introduce us or do a group message and connect us that way. There's just so many great opportunities. I don't know about your inbox, but my inbox is filled with people who are selling me a course or offering to guest post or, manage my this or manage my that. I mean, I delete probably at least a couple hundred emails a day. Some of them I just need to see what other people are doing and what other people are saying, right? As part of my agency life, and figuring out like, does this work? Does this not work? The thing that has been not working for me lately is the subject line that makes it seem like I forgot something. That like
Yes.
somehow you already have a relationship with me, and somehow I dropped the ball by not looking at your prior email. That doesn't really do too much for me. But LinkedIn in particular, I try to be pretty diligent about keeping LinkedIn clean and getting back to people. I, in the past couple weeks, have not done such a great job, but it's a great opportunity for people to just understand who you are, what you might be after, and I think that that's an awesome way to try to build out your network. What about internships? And you've mentioned that you had run an internship program for quite a while. Just wondering what, if someone's looking for an internship, what might stand out, and also whether or not you think internships are appropriate for after you've graduated.
I do. Okay, so to start with internships, I don't think you can find one too early.
Hmm.
So high school, whether it's very light load, you can find companies where you can just shadow and get experience 5 hours a week. If you can juggle that with your class schedule, I don't think it's ever too early to start connecting with businesses, because those are great resume builders. As
Hmm.
far as what stands out, anyone that has shown that extra initiative, so they've gone above and beyond um, their core, college career, and they're volunteering, or they're getting connected with, you know, different organizations in the school, and they have not just the college coursework, but that outside experience that contributes to what they can. It makes them stand apart, makes them stand out. But I think, and I'd say switch it up. Each semester in college, find a different internship, get as much experience as you can. So many companies have very minimal load. They're not looking for a huge commitment of time. But now I feel like it didn't used to be the case, but I think internship programs have become very official and structured with companies. So if you can find something like that, it's great, because whether you're doing it for the college credit and it's sort of twofold, or it's just for yourself, you can't go wrong,
Yeah.
because you're going to get some experience. You're going to learn something from it, and it always looks good on a resume.
Yeah, fantastic. I think that's a really great tip. Well, I think that we're gonna keep this a little bit short. So, is there anything else that you'd like to mention?
I would just say just be creative. Think outside of the box. How can you grow your network? Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I always, love to give tips, or I even notice, job opportunities will come my way across my feed from people I'm connected with, or friends, or
Mm-hmm.
former coworkers, and it helps to sort of have that short list in my mind of, oh yeah, I remember this person reached out and they were looking for something, or so and so is looking. Like, to me, I feel like that's how a lot of jobs are being filled these days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm personally looking for something, and called a former colleague, a friend, and said, hey, I have this opportunity. If you can think of anyone, just let me know. So, yeah, just I would say stay connected, and set yourself apart. Like, do something that makes you stand out and be noticed. And it doesn't have to be anything like loud and, too out of the box. But I think just making sure that you're considered when opportunities arise.
I love it. I love it. That is so great. Well, thank you so much, Allison. We really appreciate all those great tips, and I think there's a lot, tons of value right there.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. I'd love to come back sometime.
Excellent. Yes, we'll have to do a part two. Thanks.
Sounds great. Thank you.